Welcome back to the Second and Short podcast. I'm Josiah.
I'm Christian.
I'm Hayden.
I'm Cooper.
For those of you who like to listen to audio only, the link for the Spotify will be in the description.
Good job.
Thank you.
Great.
Stuttered over my words, you know?
Yeah.
It's all right.
Well, today, March 5th, it was the franchise tag deadline day. A lot of players got the tag. We're just going to go through all of them, discuss, see if there's any talking points that we want to bring up with them. Josie, were there any franchise tag players that really just caught your eye?
Yeah, I mean, obviously there was a lot of chatter leading up to the trade deadline last year of the Steelers and some other teams making some moves for Jalen Johnson. And it seemed like the Bears were willing to listen to them. So, like, hearing that he was the one who hit the tag, like, they didn't really necessarily have anybody else to tag. So it makes a little bit of sense from that perspective. But that one was a little bit surprising. I thought he was going to be a free agent this year, just based on the chatter around him really moving towards the trade deadline of last year. So
No, and you have the available cap. They turned down what is believed to be a second-round offer from the Steelers. There were other teams interested in trading for him. If you're not going to accept one of those offers, then you better not just let him hit the open market. It would have made no sense. Even if he's not really the long-term future of Matt Eberflus and Ryan Poles, like, you're going to at least tag him. I think a tag and trade could end up being the likely scenario here. But even so, you're going to try and keep some talented guy. And we got some news that from the Bears that didn't revolve around Justin Fields or Caleb Williams.
for real.
About time.
The two that shocked me was I thought Michael Pittman was going to get a deal done with the Colts for sure.
Do you think he still does?
I think he does. I think he stays with them, but also they said he's playing here. He said he's playing on the franchise tag. He's fine playing because I think he likes it there, so he doesn't really care. So I think he knows they're going to get a deal done. So good news for the Colts there. And then Josh Allen for the Jaguars. That one pissed me off because part of me is just, it's so stupid. Like, why would you move on from him when he's arguably one of the best edge rushers in the free agency?
Well, they're not moving on from him. They franchise
There's talk
tag.
about a franchise tag and trade, though.
I think
That would make me mad, but I think they need. I just don't get why not pay him. Like, Trevon Walker obviously looked good this year in his second year. I mean, Allen, his sophomore year and junior year, he slowed down a little bit, but also he didn't have help. And then now Trayvon's there to help out too. I just don't get why you don't pay a guy like that to stay there because, I mean, like, he's one of the better edge rushers out there. Like, Brian Burns, I think he's overrated. And
You're just going to do every franchise tag player all by yourself,
I
Christian? You're
didn't
just
talk
name
about
dropping all
I
of them.
think another point to what you were saying is, like, you seem to have hit it with the Josh Allen pick, but then I think it was the following year, the year after, like, you completely whiffed on the Chase on pick. And so it's like that almost lends itself more to you having to pay Josh Allen because, like, you whiffed on a first round pick in the next 2 years on an edge guy. So
yeah.
I don't know. I do see him getting an extension personally. I think Josh Allen's going to be a Jag. So.
Yeah, I think he stays
hope he
in
is,
Duval. I mean, Trevon Walker, like you said, everyone knew he was going to be a good run stopper. He really came into his own this year and quietly had a double-digit sack season. But, I mean, even with him and Josh Allen putting up 17 and a half sacks, they were one of the worst teams at rushing the passer. They couldn't afford to let this guy hit the open market.
Yeah.
There is a free agent D tackle who, when I think of him, I think of this team. If you can get Calais Campbell back in Jacksonville, a guy who was the president of Saxonville and Duval there during his tenure, have him with Trevon Walker being a versatile chess piece and Josh Allen off the edge. I think that would be a scary good reunion to look at.
Yeah. That would be an interesting one for sure.
I think I will go next with this with Antoine Winfield getting tagged. I'm kind of surprised with this because I thought they would have also signed him just to a long-term deal to lock him down because he is one of their focal points on that defense, him, Devin White, whatever. They're a horse apiece, but I would have liked to see him sign to a big deal.
No, and Tampa Bay, I mentioned it on a TikTok earlier. I feel like we're obviously a Steelers podcast, but I feel like we've also kind of become a Buccaneers podcast. Shout out David, just because we talk about them all the time because everybody's a free agent.
It started before the season even started. We were talking about the Bucs.
Yeah.
Like weekly.
Yes, Baker's a free agent, which I do think there's going to be a deal that gets done there. I don't think Mike Evans signs on without knowing who the quarterback is. But obviously there was Mike Evans drama. Antoine Winfield gets the tag. Oh yeah, and they're starting middle linebackers. Levante David and Devin White are both free agents. I do think Levante probably comes back. I think Devin's probably on his way out.
I would agree too.
Yeah.
I would like to see the Steelers get him.
Josie's been talking about. Josie, you want to mention that real quick?
Yeah, sure. I mean, there's two guys right now that are middle linebackers. Three if we'll talk about the guy that he wants to talk about too. But there's really two guys that I see as like top flight guys. Is like, you've got Devin White and then you've got Patrick Queen, who both right now seem to be looking like they're going to hit free agency. And I mean, say what you want about Devin White's fall off. Like, he's 26 years old. I think that he's playing unmotivated because he had an idea that he wasn't going to get extended. I still think that he can be a very good, versatile middle linebacker. And obviously, Patrick Queen is Patrick Queen. Like, I mean, he was good before Roschon got there. Roschon Johnson, yeah. Roquan Smith got there, and then like Roquan Smith made him even better than he already was. So like, I think that there's guys out there that teams are definitely going to maybe even overpay for. I don't know. I think Patrick Queen's probably going to end up with a bigger contract than Devin White is, just based on the past year and a half-ish that Devin White's had.
I feel like they almost kind of flipped where White was so dominant at the beginning of his career and Queen so dominant at his end of his rookie contract. They kind of flipped roles where neither one was awful at any point, but Patrick Queen has definitely been trending more in the right direction, while Devin White has been more trending in the downward.
And this is my argument for Devin White and why I don't think that you should trust his fall off as much as you did. A lot of people were out on Roquan Smith when he was with the Bears, but again, you look back on it and how good he is now. He was unmotivated. He didn't want to play for the team that he was with, which I don't think was the case for Devin White. But he didn't have his contract. He knew he wasn't going to get it. So, like, he wasn't performing like he did. He gets traded to the Ravens. He's the first or second best middle linebacker in the league, up there with, like, Fred Warner. Like, I mean, it's just there is a motivation piece to these players that comes with the contracts and, like, staying with the team that they want to or being with the team that they want to. So I'm not saying he's going to look as good as Roquan Smith did with the Ravens, but, like, I think that Devin White's he's still a good middle linebacker. So somebody's going to get lucky.
Tampa Bay also keeping KJ Britt on. They released Shaq Barrett, obviously. So definitely a transition. They had two guys who really stood out. KJ Britt being one as the off-ball linebacker. And then if one of you can help me out with the rookie edge rusher that actually ended up Yaya Diaby, I think is his name. Both of those guys seem to be the future for Tampa Bay's defense. I would like them to get something done with Levante David, just because hard to picture him in any other uniform after 12 years.
They need a running back too. Bad.
I think this was White didn't do too bad at the end of his career, but obviously this is the combine. Yeah.
What did White do this season? Did he have 1,000 rushing? He definitely had 1,000
think so.
Close. He was pretty close to it. I think combined he did with receiving, because at the end of the year his receiving stats were pretty nuts at the end of the year.
His receiving
he was pretty good at the end of the year.
I mean, and they have a stud as their second stringer, Sean Tucker out of Syracuse. So I mean,
well, if I remember correctly, the last time Levante David was supposed to hit free agency, the same thing happened where like it was a last minute.
It was last year. Last year he signed a 1 year.
He signed back with them.
$7 million deal, I think.
Yeah, so like it's something similar. I don't know if it's going to end the same way, but like I could see. I mean, I think Levante David wants to retire as a Buccaneer, and I think the Bucs probably want him to retire as a Buccaneer.
Yeah.
But
I do want to go back to Michael Pittman because I feel like him and another franchise tag player are actually a pretty good comparison that people don't really talk about. T. Higgins, who is viewed as this like ultra number one guy that just is stuck behind Jamar Chase and would completely break out. Meanwhile, Michael Pittman has been the number one. He's been a lot more consistent and more productive, to be frank, but people still view T. Higgins way higher than what they view Michael Pittman.
See, I view Michael Pittman way higher than I do T. Higgins. He's their number one guy, and Bengals have Jamar, T. Higgins, and Tyler Boyd. It's pretty hard not to be a average to above average receiver with those guys around you.
Michael Pittman, Joe Burrow throwing the ball,
and Joe Burrow, and Michael Pittman has Gardner Minshew.
All right.
Now Gardner
Minshew
isn't horrible. He's average. Joe Burrow is a franchise quarterback who the Bengals trust, and they surrounded their team with him and trying to build on that. The Colts are trying to still find their identity.
I think Pittman, as of right now, he's better than T. Higgins. I think T. Higgins has a higher ceiling. You also got to think, though, that him and Joe Burrow came into the league the same year. He was their second round. T. Higgins was their second round pick. And I'm pretty sure his rookie year, he almost had 1,000 yards, right?
908.
Yeah, so
67 receptions, 908
And that was a
yards,
shortened
6
season.
touchdowns.
Burrow didn't play the whole year. It ended up being a Ryan Finley.
And that was when T. Higgins was their, like, I don't know if you say Boyd was still their number one or not at the time, but still.
Yeah.
T. Higgins was his rookie year, and he did that still without his franchise quarterback. I think that he would be good somewhere else, and I could see him.
AJ Green was still there that year too. Wasn't
No, AJ.
I think that was the year he
overlap
did leave.
between Burrow and AJ.
No, I think that was,
I think there was
one.
there was
There was
one year
one.
of overlap.
Yeah.
Then he signs the 2-year, $16 million deal with the Cardinals.
Yeah. I thought there was 1 year of overlap. So like, I mean, I don't think that is saying like T. Higgins wasn't even.
those
the two.
stats
He
were on
definitely was.
67 receptions. That's
Yeah.
pretty nuts to have
Yeah.
that much for. So I think T. Higgins could still be better than Michael Pittman, but I will say Michael Pittman is obviously better right now
Yeah.
because he's shown production more, but T. Higgins' ceiling is way higher. And I think if he goes to a team like number one, he would be the top guy.
I thought Claypool was going to be like a Pittman for the Steelers, but obviously that didn't work out.
I think Pittman actually. I think you're not far off with the Steelers comparison, but I think it's his former USC teammate. I think him and Juju are comparable. I think Pittman is what Juju could have become had he stayed healthy, had he continued in the Pittsburgh. Now, granted, if Pittman was playing with Antonio Brown, then his numbers might have also been a little bit higher, like they were Juju's second season. But I feel like the Steelers mark isn't super far off. I just think Juju and him are kind of the similar guys who can catch, very reliable hands, can block, more physical, not really the big play guys. I think those two are very
Locker room
similar.
guys.
And I think Amon-Ra is similar to both of them as well. Another USC teammate. And then he's just like the next step up where there is that big playability.
Beast.
Yeah, I mean, I'd still obviously there's a lot of chatter around a potential even tag and trade with T. Higgins still because like there was some.
I could see that happening more than anything.
I could. I mean, I think that it would have to be a pretty good offer, and I think it would have to be the NFC. I don't know that they're going to trade into the AFC. To be honest with you, it's definitely not happening with the Chiefs. That's definitely not happening. I could see if the Panthers are serious about getting Bryce Young, a number one receiver. I could see the Panthers maybe even giving up like a borderline first rounder for T. Higgins.
Do they have that though? Like
Probably
that's
not.
what I mean. No, you have a line that's below average. You don't have weapons, so obviously a team.
Would you do Brian Burns in that trade? I would.
Dude, if the
Two
Bengals
tag
can,
players.
if the Bengals, well, that's not
Yeah.
super far off. The Chiefs have done that before, just in a little different setup.
They both Bengals
Tag-
need an edge rusher and they need a receiver. I mean, it both makes sense for them.
Before I make my point, Trey Hendrickson and Brian Burns together would just be super scary.
Yeah, I would-
especially
I
when
would
you're the
hate it. I
Steelers
would
and don't
hate
have
it.
And you've got
tackles.
Carl Lawson in there.
Hey,
and like
we don't have a tackle.
I would hate.
We don't have a tackle.
I would hate it.
Sam Hubbard.
Yes, yeah.
Sam Hubbard.
But they also have Miles Murphy. They drafted. Like I would hate it, but I mean, it's
Yeah, that's
it's
another
a-
good
it's-
point. It's a first round investment in Miles
Yeah.
Murphy. But let's say that does kind of the Chiefs have done that before. They tagged and traded D Ford to the Niners for a second round pick. And then they went and traded their other second round pick to the Seahawks for then tagged player Frank Clark. So it's a little different, but it is in
happened.
essence a trade for a tag player to another tag player.
Yeah.
But I did confirm, by the way, there was 1 year of overlap between Burrow and AJ Green.
I thought there was.
But that was like end AJ Green era. So like T Higgins, Tyler Boyd.
And Burrow, I mean, overlap of 6 games,
Yeah.
5 games maybe. I
Yeah.
don't remember exactly, but his injury happened. I mean, his injury happened pretty quickly into the season, if I remember
Probably like
correctly.
week 11. I want to say it was week
11?
11.
Okay.
T Higgins.
No, Burrow. His rookie
his
season. Was it like midway through the season?
I think it might. It was.
I
early
think it
in
was
the-
like
yeah.
because I think it was pretty early because he started like balling out. We're like, oh yeah, he's the next guy, and then of course he gets hurt. And we're like, oh shoot, now he didn't finish out his
His
career.
stats were better than Herbert's that year up until his injury.
It's a good thing
because
that
we were like, oh, we don't know what's gonna happen with him now.
if the Bengals would have kept Andy Dalton, they would have finished with a way worse pick than pick number 3, and they would not have ended up with Jamar Chase. I just thought of that because there was a little bit of talk there because Burrow was so pro ready. So they're like, oh, no need to keep Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton ended up getting a backup job anyway. He obviously goes to the bigger market Dallas Cowboys. But they wouldn't have finished with the 3rd overall pick, and they wouldn't have been able to get Jamar Chase. Now, they still might have been able to end up with Devontae Smith or Jalen Waddle. That's pretty good. Second place. But, I mean, it is
Was he
interesting.
really the 3rd overall?
Yeah.
I thought he was a little later.
Or am I off based on that? He was the...
I was going to say, I thought it was
Wasn't he right
later.
after Kyle Pitts?
Because Pitts was 4.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that was quarterback. It went...
Penny Sewell.
Oh, yeah, it went...
No, Lance was. Trey Lance was 3rd.
Yeah,
It went
yeah,
T-Law.
It was the quarterback.
T-Law,
Yeah.
Zach Wilson, and then...
Trey Lance,
Yeah, Trey
and
Lance.
then Kyle Pitts, and then
then
Jamar,
Jamar.
and then Penny Sewell, because everybody was thinking that the Bengals were going to take
and
Penny
then
Sewell.
Waddle, then
Yeah.
all that.
And then Najee and Fields and your guy, Zayvon Collins. Maybe a little bit of foreshadowing for a future segment.
Yeah.
It was week
Joe-
11 for Burrow.
I was going to say,
Yeah.
Joe Burrow played in 10 games, is what
I
it
was
says
gonna
on here.
say,
for
like,
his
he
stats.
was playing pretty good in like every
Yeah.
game. Everyone's like, oh yeah.
Yeah, he went to 2-7-1. And 13 touchdowns, 5 picks. But he also had 2,688 passing yards in 10 games. He averaged over 250 passing yards a game. So
Yeah, and that
What's
was
that, like a-
that was an awful roster too.
yeah,
So.
that's like what, 4,300 pace? Something like that. I don't know. But yeah, it doesn't
Around that.
the numbers on it, something. If it's 250.
Want to take the next guy?
it was 4,000 exactly.
4,000
It was still a 16-game season at that point, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was
Yeah.
the last year of it. So
Yeah. You said the last guy?
I said, do you want the next guy? Or do you want me?
Yeah, you can take him.
Mine.
Oh,
the ne-
I'll interrupt you there. All right, I want you guys to construct the perfect script for the 2024 season. I want this like out of pocket, not like this just ridiculous stuff with Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce.
Tom Brady comes out of retirement and plays for the San Francisco 49ers. Him and Kyle Shanahan go 17-0 and win the Super Bowl. The end.
I hate you so much. I just hate you.
Keep going. Just let it
going.
ride out.
Cooper, I know you have something. Let's go.
I'm brewing something. Give me a second. One of you guys go.
Aaron Rodgers tears his
17-0.
other Achilles.
So Rogers. Achilles.
No. Roger tears his other Achilles, but becomes like bionic or something,
I
and
was gonna
somehow
say,
freaking wins Super Bowl that year.
Dude.
Just like the thing with like the Cavs and like Golden State Warriors thing when they just kept going to like their 2050.
Jason Kelsey unretires and he ends up going to play for his former head coach Andy Reid.
No,
He ends up
Don't do
he
that.
ends up playing guard. Kylie Kelsey and Taylor Swift become cheerleaders, and the Chiefs just reign dominant for another year.
I'd
They
rather- I'd
first
rather-
team to three-peat.
I'd rather them team up in Cincinnati, dude. Go back to Ohio.
All right, Josie Cooper. Me and Christian are carrying this audible.
Cooper, I know you
Luke,
have
do you
something
have
way
any?
out- Cooper, I know you have something way out of pocket. Come on, dude. You know you do. Something with Jackson Mahomes
Yeah,
or something. Let's go.
I'm going
my
with Jackson Mahomes.
James Harrison
Something
comes
with
out of
Patrick
retirement,
Mahomes'
plays with
dad.
T.J. Watt. Big
Here we go.
Okay.
Thank you for the James Harrison thing. Now, I don't know where I'm going with this yet, but Jackson Mahomes plays tackle for the Kansas City Chiefs. He puts on a few pounds.
This is your perfect
Yes. No, I wouldn't say perfect, but he puts on a few pounds. He's 275 going into the season.
Some pounds. I mean, he is tall, isn't he?
He is
Like
tall.
6'6".
He's got his dad's jeans.
I don't know that person at the bar was sitting down and he could reach their face fine. But okay, so he plays tackle for the Chiefs. He has an okay season. Like he's getting blown up a lot of plays, but he also has some good plays.
He is 6'6", by the way.
Yeah, he's definitely
Just needs to add another
He's
100 pounds.
171
Could
pounds.
be like a
Just needs to add 150.
All right,
and he's fine.
I'm not gonna go the route I was gonna go. I will tell you guys after we are done filming.
It's okay. I think
But-
we can piece it together. You said James Harrison.
No, no, not James Harris anymore, but an old Raiders player. They're matched up together, and it's in the AFC Championship, and
You can't even finish it.
Patrick Mahomes gets strip sacked by this one Raiders D end, and this Raiders D end is running to the end zone, running. Jackson Mahomes is hauling butt to get to him because he's like, you're welcome. He is hauling butt to get to him. He comes from behind this one Raiders D end, and the TV's cut off. That's it. And the only people who know what happened are the people in the stadium.
And who goes to the Super Bowl?
Did they hear the screams?
All right. I mean, Luke, we have our clip. Should we just stop filming?
Josie hasn't gone.
Do
I
you
have
know
not
what
gone
Raiders
yet.
player I was talking about?
All right, so. Yeah, I knew that.
Oh, that went way over my head.
Raiders.
Way over my head.
Just going something with Henry Ruggs.
Did you forget?
No.
Did you
Oh my
forget that he
gosh.
was at the Raiders because he went to the Bucks at the end?
Yeah.
Yeah, he hasn't been in the league for a couple of years, so that went
He's
right
been in
over
the
my
league since he
head.
came.
Brings a whole new meaning to the butt fumble.
All right, so here's my take on the script for the NFL this year. So the Chiefs don't end up getting a wide receiver one in free agency or the draft, and instead they go out and sign one of the old heads who think they can still play in the league, either Chad Ochocinco or T.O. Both of them at the same time. Fantastic. Both of them have 1,000-yard receiving seasons. They go to the Super Bowl. They three-peat. Ochocinco gets his first Super Bowl, and T.O. gets his second or third. First. He never had any with the wow. Okay.
The closest he got was Philly with Andy Reid when he
Yeah.
played on like a broken leg. He would have won
Yeah.
MVP if the Eagles would have pulled it off.
Yeah.
But Tom Brady had something else
Yeah.
to say. About
Because was there any overlap between Jerry Rice and T.O. in San Fran?
Yeah,
Yeah, there was. I thought there was.
for a couple of years at least.
So,
yeah.
So yeah, Ochocinco and T.O. signed with the Chiefs, and the Chiefs run a lot of 2 tight end, 2 wide receiver. Isaiah Pacheco, the
Chiefsaholic
standard
get
stuff.
out of jail too for it.
He's gonna be wide receiver one
Yeah.
with the mask on.
He can play in the slot.
Yeah, 3-peat for the Chiefs this year with 2 40-plus-year-old receivers at there.
So that means
1,
Jackson
2.
Mahomes gets a ring.
Jack Mahomes is gonna play tight end. He's gonna be the
Tight end.
He's gonna be tight end too.
He'll be a Travis Kelce successor.
so is he-
he'll go into the starting role. when
Okay,
Kelce
so is he
retires.
gonna
And they have
double
Jason Kelce
team?
too. They have
Is he
Jason
gonna
Kelce
double team the Raiders D end, not
No,
Max
no,
Crosby?
Here's what's gonna happen. Jackson Mahomes is gonna sign with the Eagles, and he's gonna like the tush push a little too much, and so they're gonna have to end up cutting.
He's their center.
He's their center.
He's gonna get a little.
What?
From the did he say he's the center?
No, I mean he could be. He could be the
Yeah,
one
he's
behind
gotta be the
Jalen.
center.
He could be the one behind Jalen, pushing the tush.
No, I
You're
feel like
talking
it's
about
gonna be
he's
the
gonna be
other
center,
one around.
and he put his
It's the other
hands
way
down.
around.
Brings a new definition.
That's what I thought you were doing.
He'll be like the H back. Yeah.
A fullback.
Not full for long.
All right, should we go
That
back?
got
Yeah, all right.
real quick.
We'll see how much of that was usable.
All of it.
All right. I was picking.
We were gonna
right?
talk about Kyle Duggar. There's still Snead
Yeah,
there too. Actually,
I'm going to talk about
Good
Jerry
one.
Snead. I thought that before reports came out to the Super Bowl, I thought they were going to be able to keep him and Chris Jones. Now that they franchise tagged him, Snead wants his money. I don't think he's going to play on the franchise tag. He's going to want to get traded or get his payday. And Chris Jones, I think he wants to stay, but also I don't know if they're going to be able to bring both of them back. I mean, they said Chris Jones is their number one guy to get back, but like Snead definitely seems like he wants the money. I don't think they're going to be able to keep both of them now. I thought they were at first, but I still feel like Chris Jones isn't taking a pay cut.
I think Chris Jones is trending towards staying in Kansas City. I think
I think
a
he
cheaper
is, but
salary?
I don't think they're keeping Snead. I thought Chris Jones was going to stay on the cheaper salary. So it seemed like he was, but I don't.
what do you define as cheaper salary? I think
then what he's worth.
What do you think he's worth?
I mean, top D tackle in the league money.
I think he could get 28-ish million
28 a
per
year?
year.
Do you think
with
the
maybe
Chiefs could
like
pay
the
him
first
28
2
a
years
year?
guaranteed? Yeah, I think
Who would they restructure? Or do you think they have the cap space to do it now?
they don't have it right
Yeah, I
now. I
didn't
think
think
you would
they did.
Is that an
restructure.
issue, man? I feel like Mahomes would want to restructure more and more.
He just got restructured to get paid more.
yeah, it's so stupid. I
Did he
feel like
really?
I feel
As
like-
he should. He's like the
He's-
seventh
okay,
He
highest paid
restructured to
quarterback.
get him the
But-
highest paid per year or
okay,
something like that
but
in the offseason.
I would restructure and just keep
Jalen.
getting those rings.
Like,
There's a way to do it. Tom Brady restructured, but also Tom Brady wasn't being disrespected. Mahomes' salary right now compared to other quarterbacks, and Josh Allen for that matter, is just disrespectful. Especially you have Daniel Jones making $40 million a year. Patrick's at what, like 28 right now? Like that's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
But I think Chris Jones stays in Kansas City. If I'm the Chiefs, like a tag and trade for Snead would be nice, but with how bad you want the three-peat, do you just kind of say, suck it up, we'll take you whenever you end your holdout, and then we'll let you hit next year, or maybe not, we'll just tag you and then trade you then? Like, I could see them, they're so overwhelmed with the possibility of three-peating, and rightfully so, where I wouldn't be surprised if they mortgage their future a little bit to get the three-peat. Because you can't guarantee that Mahomes is going to catch up to Brady. Can't guarantee that Kelsey's going to catch up to Gronk. You can't guarantee that Reed's going to catch up to Belichick. But if you three-peat, you automatically have done something that those three have never done.
That nobody's ever done.
Yeah. So I think that is something that's going through their brain. And it might end up hurting Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs further down the road. But also, I think that they're all so engulfed in this three-peat where I could see them saying, you know what, we'll deal with the future when the future gets here. We're just going to keep as many things here as possible.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be interesting. I think that if they were to sign Snead, like they obviously tagged him, if they were to sign him to an extension, it would be like maybe 2 years because eventually they're going to have to pay McDuffie, and he was a first-round pick. So, like, if you're gonna,
and McDuffie's trajectory is way higher than Snead's right now. Yeah.
So like if Snead does get some kind of extension, it's gonna be a shorter one, maybe 2, maybe 3. Because what McDuffie just finished his second year, there's a 5th-round option or 5th-year option. So like he has 3 years maybe left before they have to pay him.
I don't think an extension's on the table though. I think
Snead.
No, I think it's because that short term of an extension is not going to help them out cap wise. It's just going to hurt them. I think that it's either play on the tag or tag and trade. I don't see for either side really. If I'm Snead, why am I going to sign a 3-year deal with only like 2 years of guarantees in it? But then also if I'm the Chiefs, like the guy's really good, but also there seems to be some injury questions there that came out during the combine. You have Trent McDuffie, as you mentioned. I'm not sure if I'm really giving him a long-term deal either. I think for both sides, doing either just playing on the tag or a tag and trade makes the most sense.
Yeah. Well,
it's the last guy, the guy who didn't even get the franchise tag. Is he the only one left?
Yeah, transition tag.
So Kyle Duggar, the Patriots safety, received the transition tag. For those of you who don't know, it's not quite like the franchise tag. It's a cheaper tag. It's actually $6 million less for safeties. I think the franchise tag that Winfield received ended up being a little over 19. This one's a little bit over 13, if I am correct on that. Pretty close. And basically, you can obviously just sign and play for $13 million. But what's going to happen is Kyle Duggar's going to hit free agency just like everyone else. The thing is, though, once he finds an offer he likes, the Patriots will have 1 week to decide to either match the offer or let him go sign with that other team. So a little bit more variance than there is with the franchise tag, exclusive or non-exclusive. But I think Kyle Duggar ends up just staying in New England. I think he's a good safety, but there's a far step in between him and the truly elite safeties of the world.
Yeah. I think we probably would have either seen him get an extension or the actual franchise tag had he been like a top flight guy. And I think that, I mean, some players are realistic about like what their, I don't know if what their worth sounds right. That sounds bad, but like, I don't think he's ever going to get top flight money. I don't assume that he thinks he's going to get top flight money, but at the same time, it's like, the transition tag to me makes more sense than just the franchise tag. Let the player go out and see if they can get some money somewhere. And if you think that they're worth whatever they're going to sign with somebody else, like bring them back. Like give them the money that they were going to accept from a different team. I personally am more of a fan of the transition tag than I am because I'm not a fan of the franchise tag. We've talked about this in previous episodes.
We need to use transition more. I like that way better.
Well, I mean, but transition's better for the players, but franchise is better for the franchise. So, I mean...
Yeah. I just think that the franchise tag, and we talked about this before, not to get too much into it. I think the franchise tag is misused because how many franchise tag players end up getting long-term extensions versus end up hitting free agency the next year, or get tagged a second time like Kirk Cousins, or get tagged a second time like Le'Veon Bell probably would have. I just think that teams misuse the franchise tag as a way to extend a contract of a player that they're not eventually going to extend long-term.
I think that's the unwritten purpose, though. I mean, it doesn't sound as good because it's super corporate heavy in terms of power, but I think that is why the franchise tag is in the NFL. I think that's why the owners like it, because it shifts power even more from the players and more towards the clubs. I think the transition tag, the one name that really comes out to mind, I can't think of any other huge ones. Charles Clay got it, and he ended up going to Buffalo. The
Miami?
The Dolphins chose not to match it. The other one that comes to mind is Kyle Fuller, who got it from the Bears. The Packers tried to steal him during those later Aaron Rodgers days. The Bears ended up matching that one. So it is a way for interdivision to kind of jack up the price a little bit.
Yeah.
Because if he ends up saying yes and the team doesn't match it, then you're stuck with him. But at the same time, you can also kind of upper the price if you know that team's going to go grab him. So if I'm Buffalo and I have two aging safeties and Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer, why not kind of throw out an offer that's a little bit more on the high end? That's just kind of spitballing. It could be any team in the AFC or the AFC East, but just kind of jack up the price a little bit and try and make New England pay as much as possible for the guy.
Yep. Yeah.
So the whole list.
Yeah, that is.
Trivia.
Trivia time. I do have a good trivia question for you guys today. All right, so obviously free agency is right around the corner at this point. I know I'm getting excited. I think you guys are all getting excited for it, just to kind of see, we've been speculating for weeks since the season ended really about where players are going to go, if they're going to hit free agency, if they're going to get tagged, whatever. My trivia question today is I have a list of the top 15 highest contracts ever given to a free agent. And I want to see how many of them you can get. You don't have to get them in order. So if you throw out a
Is this
name,
on a total or a per year basis?
it's a per year basis.
Okay.
It's a AAV.
All right. So this is going to be really recent, guys. Like really, really recent, because a 5-year, $25 million deal with $10 million guaranteed 20 years ago was like a good deal for like anybody.
I will give you this. And
Everyone was a free agent.
Correct. That's what the
Okay.
stipulation on this.
Going to a new team where the player hit free agency and then re-signed with the team. Sorry.
I'm looking.
A lot of technicalities.
Yeah,
but
I'm looking here. Everybody I'm seeing so far went to a different team. Yeah, it looks like every single person on here went to a different team. That was a good question. Good designation. The earliest year on here is 2012.
Yeah.
So it's 2012 through, and the most recent one on here was 2021. So this article that I found, it might be a little bit dated based on the past couple of years, but
I'm gonna go Kirk Cousins.
that is number one.
That's number
That's
one. of
number
all time.
one. He had a 3-year, $84 million. That was this fully guaranteed contract with the Vikings, 28 per year, and that's number one.
Watson.
That
Deshaun
was-
Watson.
does that
more,
count
that's more
because-
recent, so I'm not sure. If it wasn't included, but he also got cut. I don't think he
No,
was
trade. You're talking about Deshaun. right?
traded. I'm sorry, that was a trade.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a trade. That wasn't free agency.
Oh, yeah.
Le'Veon.
Le'Veon Bell is not on the list.
AB is that right?
AB is not on the list. He got cut.
Oh, he was a cut.
Well, traded.
I'm sorry. I'm
That's
traded
yeah.
and then cut from the Raiders.
Yeah.
What did we trade him for?
Third rounder. We traded him for Deontay Johnson,
Yeah.
which sounds bad,
Third
but
and
when you
fifth?
really think about it,
Was it third and fifth?
yeah, the fifth
It
rounder.
was Gentry and Deontay.
Yeah.
Gentry. Yeah.
And they were looking horrible in preseason. We were like,
All right. So you got number one.
crap. I thought Le'Veon.
Is Brock Osweiler on this list?
Brock Osweiler is on the list. He is.
Oh, I forgot about.
Brock Osweiler is tied for 11th. He's a
4 years,
four-way
72?
tie. He's a 4-way tie for 11th. He got 4 for 72, so 18 a year from the Texans.
So we're really looking at $15 million a year.
Oh no.
I mean, 15 guys.
It's 15 total guys on the list.
Okay.
Can he go over?
maybe 16 because there's a tie at 15 as well. Kenny Golladay is on the list. He is number. Hold on, I'll find his name in a second. He is also tied for 11th. So he got 18 a year as well. He got a 4-year 72, the exact same contract that Brock Osweiler got.
Is Carl Lawson the guy you mentioned earlier in the show on this list?
No.
The edge from the Jets.
Well, Cincy to the Jets.
Cincy.
What about the guy who replaced him, Trey Hendrickson?
Trey Hendrickson is not.
Trying to think of a running back.
Was
There's gotta be a running
Dalvin
back.
Cook trade or was that free agency?
That was free agency.
But he wasn't that expensive.
He made like 7 this year, I think, total.
What about RG3?
No. 2 years,
Case Keenum?
14 million.
Case Keenum is on this list. Case Keenum
When he
is
went to
tied
Denver,
for 11th.
right?
That was the-
You have 3 of the 11 place ties.
That was the year that Kirk.
He got
too.
2 for 36. He
Think
is
of Dominic
18 a year.
Sue?
Dominican Sue. Yes, he is on here. He's number 10. He got 6 years, 114.38. So 1906 a year for the Dolphins.
This one might not show up because of recency, but Von Miller.
Von Miller's not on this list. So I think it's a recency thing because
Yeah.
he got 6 for 120.
Yeah.
So like that's a big one. I could find the date on this list, but I think it is a little dated based on Vaughn not being on here.
I want to know the 2012 one. Was that Nnamdi Asomugha, the corner?
Yes.
Is Nick Farley on there?
Guys, who gets the biggest contracts? What position? gets the
Quarterback.
biggest
Quarterbacks.
contracts?
Left tackles.
Was Brady at free agency?
Brady was tied for number 2. Brady's contract with the
Oh
Bucks
my
was
gosh.
2 for 50.
I couldn't remember.
25
So
a year.
25 is all right. Then Phillip Rivers.
Phillip Rivers is tied
Yeah.
for second. He got a 1 for 25.
Wait, so is there?
You got 1, 2, and 3 now. I'll tell you what, 4 is not. 4 is the first non-quarterback, and it's
How many
somewhat
more
recent.
quarterbacks are on the list?
1, 2, 3, 4. You already got Brock Osweiler.
Sam Bradford.
Sam Bradford is on the
Russell
list. I was
Wilson.
wondering who was going to pull. Sam Bradford got
Bridgewater?
1 for 20. Teddy Bridgewater.
Well,
Yep.
so he got paid.
He got 3 for 63 with the Panthers. Did you hear that? He got 3 for 63 with the Panthers. Teddy Bridgewater did.
got him fixed.
21 a year. So let's see. 4 and 5 you still need. You need tie for 7. You had 2 guys there. You need number 9.
Oh,
What offensive line? Alex Mack?
is it? Is it
Similar team. No.
There, Devontae.
Devontae might be too. He was a trade. Didn't he get traded to the Raiders?
Yeah. Kelvin Beachum.
I can never remember which ones are trades.
I don't think
Oh,
so.
Mohamed Sanu?
No. Think about who. There was some
We're
controversy
struggling.
around this left tackle with the team that he was with. He's regarded as maybe like the best tackle in the league.
Tyron.
Trent Williams. He wasn't cut though.
Trent Williams signed.
Wasn't that a trade?
He was a 6-year, 138.06. I mean, this says free agency
I thought
and it
he
has
was
him on
traded.
there.
Keep
It
on
says
going.
free
I'm gonna
agent,
look it
yeah.
up.
You're good, yeah. Number 5. Think about Super Bowl MVP.
Nick Foles.
Nick Foles, yes sir. He signed a 4 for
Jags.
88.
Yeah.
4 for 88 with the Jags. You guys got Teddy Bridgewater already. Number 7 is a 2-way tie. First round wide receiver. He was a first round wide receiver. He was drafted in the first round in the
Sammy
AFC,
Watkins?
and then went to the NFC.
Sammy Watkins?
No, not Sammy Watkins.
Wait, AJ Brown. I know he was in the
no.
first round.
Trade.
And
Oh,
then
it's a
he
trade, too.
How do you
he
guys
got
know?
drafted to the AFC, went to the NFC, and now is in
Brandon
the
Cooks?
AFC again.
Wait, no, that's MC. Yeah.
Cooks isn't on this list at all.
No,
Arbor Woods.
no. He's big body, like 6'3". What were you
Julio?
gonna say?
No, it was
This guy's not big body, but Golden Tate.
I thought you were saying C. His name starts with a C. His last name starts with a C.
It's not Claypool.
No,
Okay.
he got it was trade as well. Well, no, I guess he
Yeah.
went to Miami.
We suck.
It's all right. He got drafted to the Raiders.
Cooper.
Amari Cooper signed a. Where'd he go?
Cut.
Yeah, Amari
Dallas.
Cooper went 5 for 100 with Dallas.
But From Raiders to Dallas, he was traded too.
Yeah, so this list must
And
include
Trent
trades.
Williams was traded also.
Was he?
So,
Yeah, so this list must be the information that they have
what is
on
this website? We're
NBCSportsChicago.com.
Because it's weird. Because if we're doing
Yeah.
trades, then there's a lot of other guys.
Yeah,
Some
I
of whom
apologize
Luke
for
mentioned.
trusting NBC Sports Chicago, friend of the podcast.
Well, not anymore. We just outed them as an unreliable source.
The other tied for 7th was a 1-year, $20 million deal. Quarterback.
Yeah, wasn't Bradford.
Yes, it was Bradford.
I said that.
You just say Bradford.
You said Bradford
Yeah,
earlier.
and you
Is Mike
recognized
Glennon
it,
on
too.
there?
Mike Glennon is not on here, so that's my.
I think Glennon made $15 million.
The draft.
Yeah. Did you say Peyton already? Peyton Manning?
No, we went right over our
Yeah,
heads.
sorry. Apologies on that. You said Ndamukong Suh. I remember that. This guy signed to the Detroit Lions 5 years for $90 million.
With who?
Detroit Lions 5-year $90 million.
Tulich?
He's a D lineman.
Oh, Holoinata?
2019.
Come on. We almost won a
played in
whole,
like 2012.
It was pretty. God,
This one,
won a whole episode.
this is the one that I didn't think anybody.
anybody.
This is one of two that I didn't think anybody would get. Trey Flowers.
Oh my goodness.
He signed a $100 million contract.
He signed a 5-year $90 million.
Dude, he got paid.
Wow.
He got
Yeah.
paid. By the
Yep. You guys got Brock Osweiler. You got Kenny Galladay. You got Case Keenum. Tied for 15th. There's two guys last on this list. The first guy signed to the Giants, I think from Miami. He was a D end.
Olivier Vernon.
Olivier Vernon. Yep. He signed a 5 for 85. And then this next guy, what hint do I want to give for him? He was one of the best in the NFL at
Trey
his
Johnson.
position. No, he's a middle linebacker.
Best what?
Was probably one of the best in the NFL at his position.
He was a little linebacker. Did you give us a team?
I did not give a team yet,
Lawrence
but he
Timmons?
signed 5 for 85.
Lawrence was like a one.
Tremaine Edmonds.
That was going to be my guess.
He was with the Ravens. And then he signed with the Jets. He's still with the Jets.
Oh, Mosley.
CJ Mosley. Again, maybe was never the best, but he was always one of the best middle
No,
linebackers.
Mosley's quietly stacked up. Good resume.
Yeah.
No, you know my takeaway from that, other than NBC Sports Chicago sucking, a lot of those guys did not pan out.
Exactly.
Do not spend money. Like this is everyone gets caught up every year in free agency. Like, oh, our team needs to trade and sign for this guy. Build through the draft. It's
Yeah.
your best bet.
It's like the only guys that you could say for sure worked out: Peyton, because he won a Super Bowl; Tom Brady, because he won a Super Bowl; and probably Trent Williams. That's probably the end of the list of guys that worked
It's
out.
worth it for Kirk.
Philip Rivers
For the
made it
high
to the
end,
playoffs.
yeah.
I mean, what have they done? Like they haven't barely made the playoffs.
Philip
Like,
Rivers took the Colts to the playoffs.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like
you can
I
make an
don't-
argument.
Those
This is
three
other
are
guys.
like the top of the list because those three are Hall of Famers. But then the other
Kirk
guys,
Cousins led them to.
I think Rivers and Cousins
Playoffs.
did their jobs.
Sam
Like,
Bradford made a bag in his career.
yeah,
He did
Bradford
nothing.
did not pay off. Which was the Brad? Was that the
Cardinals.
Bradford with the Cardinals, or was that
Yeah,
Bradford with?
That was Bradford to the Cardinals, 1 year 20 in 2018.
Because didn't he play for the Vikings too?
Yeah, he
Yeah,
got,
the Eagles.
traded
He
because
got
that's when
drafted by
Teddy
the Rams
got
first
hurt.
overall.
He got drafted and he got traded to the Vikings when he was on the Eagles.
He actually had a good start to his season with the Vikings before he got hurt. He looked really good.
Yeah, he was doing really good.
He
Well, he
has
had
like the
2 years.
second
He did 2
most
years with the
accurate,
Vikings.
the
That-
second most accurate season by a quarterback ever.
They were separate seasons though,
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
because he got traded from Philly in 2016, Carson Wentz's rookie year, when they had him, Chase Daniels, and Wentz. Like their quarterback cap was just through the roof.
Ridiculous.
Teddy Bridgewater breaks and tears everything possible in his knee. Minnesota plays one game with Sean Hill, but Bradford gets traded for him. That's when he ends up, him and Jerick McKinnon just like killing it that year.
Yeah. Jack McKinnon, man. He was good there.
He's good where he's at right now.
Yeah, that's true.
Good episode, guys. Christian mentioned it. Casey, an owner of 2 Chick-fil-A stores, will be coming onto the podcast, so make sure you stay tuned for all information on that. Yes, Cooper, you can go ahead and clap. That's good. Yeah. Just for you, Casey. But stay up to date. We're super active on TikTok right now. As Josie said, links available to Instagram, Spotify, everything, you name it. All of our socials are available for you there at Second and Short Pod. We'll see you next week.